Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donnelly Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. Thank you for tuning in. We are here every Saturday at 1 o'clock. Hi, I'm Susan. I'm here with Randy Donnelly. We are the owners of Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago, folks. It's not that far, right off of I-90. We're here today to talk about upcoming auctions, items we're looking for that you might want to put in auction, and most importantly, the value of items.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about something that happened just the other day. I was walking through our toy gallery. We have an upcoming toy auction coming up March 23rd, Toys and Trains, and I saw some Riker mounts of these little figurines in a box, right? Just so happened over the weekend I went to a line dance convention in Indiana. I had a great time, by the way. And on the wall was a handmade art piece of Cracker Jack boxes, like a montage of Cracker Jack boxes. And I realized in those Riker mounts were Cracker Jack toys. So I thought, what an interesting topic to talk about today. We're talking about Cracker Jacks. Do you remember the jingle? Can I sing it real quick?
I don't know. Go ahead. Sing away,
Susan. I had to learn this one just so we can talk about Cracker Jacks today. But those of you who remember the black and white commercials with Jack Gilford, remember the actor Jack Gilford? He was the guy in the Cracker Jack commercials. Anyway, the song kind of went, what do you want? Lip smack and whip crack and patty whack and nick and knack and silver rack and scoundrel whack and Cracker Jack. Cracker Jack. There you go.
Oh, what are you auditioning for today?
I don't know, a new career maybe.
I guess.
So my trivia question today, which is why I want to talk about this now, so we can give you the answer to the trivia question at the end of the show, so you have to stick with us, is what movie did they show a Cracker Jack toy, a toy ring specifically, that they were going to have engraved? Name that movie.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I've never gotten one of your trivia questions yet.
I noticed that.
I have no idea.
Oh, gosh.
Well, good luck out there, folks.
Right? Well, Cracker Jack, a real sad story about it. It was the sailor, Sailor Jack and his dog Bingo. They're named after real-life family members of the Ruckheim family, which is the inventor of Cracker Jack, a German immigrant. Sailor Jack was based on Robert, the son of his brother Edward. The dog was a real-life pup. Unfortunately, Robert died of pneumonia at the age of 8, shortly after he appeared on the package.
Oh, my goodness. That is tragic.
Wow. The sailor mascot, he had it carved into his tombstone, but the dog lived a long, happy life, and he passed away peacefully in 1930. So, Cracker Jack, what a great topic. Of course, it came from the streets of Chicago. Like every great thing in the world.
It was introduced at the 1893 World's Fair, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it was. And he was selling it on the streets of Chicago at first until he got a factory, and then it burnt down, and they claimed it was arson, but he said that it was kids blowing off fireworks. So who knows what happened there. But, yeah, they had factories and buildings in Chicago.
Well, when I was a kid in Scouts, Cub Scouts, they used to take us to the Cracker Jack factory as a tour.
Oh, yeah. I would have liked to have seen that.
Oh, it was amazing.
But the point of our story here is that Cracker Jack toys are valuable. Who would have thought?
Right.
And that's the purpose of our show today.
Well, and what really surprises me is some of the values. I mean, people are all familiar with the fact that there were these little gadgety toys, but a lot of people don't realize that some of the earliest prizes were, in fact, baseball cards.
Yes, which are the most valuable, which we've learned how valuable they really are.
Now, is it true? I mean, some of those go well over 10 grand.
Yeah. The baseball cards from like 1914, 1915. So who has some of those out there? Wow.
And, again, I'm told that the Honus Wagner version of the Cracker Jack card can get near 100,000.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy!
And
who
these
still collects those things? That's what I like, is that niche market of people who have such eclectic tastes like that.
These are all things that show up at garage sales, folks. This is why we warn you. You have to check out what you have before you just dump stuff at garage sales. And we always, preach auction is the way to go because it's competitive bidding.
That's right. Competitive bidding on 4 different bidding platforms and thousands of bidders from around the world.
That's right.
But we do have 5 Riker mounts of Cracker Jack toys in our upcoming toy auction, March 23rd. And in that, those Riker mounts are themed by, there's an animal theme, there's, I don't know what the other ones are, but there's rings and all kinds of great items. I didn't get a chance to look at it close enough because there's several items in each one. I'm sure there's a little valuable item in there somewhere, a little treasure.
And I'm glad you mentioned the March 23rd date because it is a 1-day, not 2-day, 1-day auction, Saturday, March 23rd.
That's right. We're going to do the trains first, the first part of the day, and then the toys after.
Well, that's really smart because anybody that wants, the toys, they don't have to sit through the whole train portion. I mean, that's going to be the first couple hours of the auction.
Right.
So they can show up a little bit later. If you want to come in person, come to Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, or bid online.
That's right.
DonnellyAuctions.com.
You got it. Now, I asked Ryan, our sports memorabilia and toy expert and coin expert. We're going to talk about coins today, too. Ryan, what are the most, collectible items in the toy auction regarding the trains? And he said there's a 1930s Lionel Hiawatha 250 engine and tender train set. So that's coming up on the 23rd. There's also a pre-war Lionel standard gauge 400E steam locomotive.
Oh, I love that.
And
it's
tender.
in
Isn't that a beauty?
Nice condition.
Yeah, that's a good
beautiful
one, too. And then, of course, my favorite toy itself in the auction is the Smith Miller fire truck. 36-inch. It's that red fire truck. What a beauty that is, too.
And, folks, these are all toys that we have been asking you, for toys for consignment. And we put together this auction. We do several toy auctions a year. So if you do have more toys and didn't get in this auction, there's always the next toy auction coming up. So you do have to call us if you have toys you'd like to get in auction. But watch the results of our upcoming toy auction in March so you can see how well, these toys really do.
That's right. You never know.
Yeah.
Some of those little ones, the little wind-up toys people are asking about, and you can tell that there's a lot of interest in certain items because people are asking a lot of questions about them. So wait and see what's going to happen there. Also in that auction, we have vintage games, which I find interesting because a lot of that stuff I used to play with, valuable today, and dolls. How many dolls do we have? I don't know, like 100 dolls.
Well over 100.
A lot of dolls.
Unfortunately, the dolls very often just don't bring any money. The stuff that people have paid a fortune for. I mean,
right.
We've got dolls that back in the day, 30, 40, 50 years ago, people were paying $100 for them, $150, $200. And now these same dolls have gone down in value, sadly, and they're going to be selling for $10, $15, $20. It's just a sad fact that everything in the antiques world was not a great investment.
Right. Just like Beanie Babies. There's maybe a couple of them here or there that are value.
Probably a couple dozen
Cabbage
different
Patch dolls.
styles.
I don't know. There's still some good valuable ones. Again, it depends on the condition and the rarity of it.
That's exactly right. And
speaking of rarity,
okay.
Do you want to talk about that knife you found the other day?
Let's do that in the next segment.
Okay, that's a good story too. You never know the treasures you find in the bottom of a box, so stay tuned for that in the next segment.
A valuable item walked in the door unwittingly. Yeah.
Wait till she finds out. I love to surprise our consigners with stuff like that.
Yeah, but Susan, some other interesting items that walked in this week.
It's been a busy week, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Was that beautiful Denzel carousel horse.
I know. I saw that.
And Denzel being the manufacturer of the carousel horse. Carousel horses are, again, like so many antiques, are down. compared to what they were 20 years ago in price, but still bringing, maybe, up to $1,000. I mean, it's not chump change, but this Denzel horse is a outstanding.
All original, right?
All original. It has not been repainted in park paint. It's original manufacture paint on here. It's an old horse, dates to the 1890s, and it's just a stunning example, a survivor. That's what we would call it.
That's a good idea. So that item is coming up in our annual Spring Classic auction, which is going to be held Friday to Sunday, April 19th through 21. So please mark your calendars for that. We're working on it now.
Right.
You got anything else that we want to put in there? Oh, my gosh, now's the time. It's going to be our biggest and best auction so far of the year.
Without a doubt, the Fall Classic is our other big one.
In November.
This is April's Spring Classic.
That's right.
Don't
Check our
miss it.
website at DonnellyAuctions.com or give us a call at 815-923-7000. You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour right here every Saturday with Susan and Randy. Right here on AM 560, The Answer. Oh, yeah, don't go anywhere. We got to tell you the story about that knife you found.
Yes.
And don't forget about my trivia question. All right, don't go anywhere.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I'm co-owner of Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. Here with Randy Donnelly. We are talking about valuable items that you might have at home that you might want to put in one of our auctions. What do you got, Randy?
Susan, we briefly mentioned this in the last segment, and I wanted to talk about it more. And that is what you might find, that's valuable. Or what you don't recognize as being valuable. We just had a woman this last week bring us some guns. Thank you. We're always looking for guns for upcoming auctions. So we've just completed a gun auction. So we're building up for the next auction.
Which will be in May.
Yes.
Middle of May.
And it's not too early. Get your guns into us now. But a woman walks in, and along with her guns, some nice pieces, she's got a box that we just refer to as a box lot of, low end, kind of junk.
Mishmash, yeah.
Yeah. There's some ammo in there. There's a few reloading supplies and a few knives, nothing of any significance, or so it seemed. So the next day, Neil comes running out of his room and says, "Hey, you got to look at this. Look at this knife." And I look at it, and to me, it just looks like any other fishing knife. I swear to God, without research, if I saw this at King County Flea Market for $10, I wouldn't buy it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a knife.
Right.
Except it was made by William Skagel, Scagel. And apparently, William Skagel was an early knife maker who actually taught Randall how to make knives. And Randall knives, of course, are extremely valuable. Well, Skagel knives are even more valuable. And this knife was, again, used just as probably a fishing knife. It's all resharpened. It's all scratched and beat up and everything else. But this knife will probably fall in the value of $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, for this, like I say, insignificant knife, or so it seemed. So, folks, you really, I can't warn you enough. You have to be careful about what you're selling.
So when is that knife going to go up for auction?
Well, that'll be in the next.
In May?
That'll be in the next gun auction in May. We'll be doing guns and knives. We've got
guns, ammo, military, knives, sportsman gear, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So
wonderful. Well, that segues into our next auction.
Wow. Okay.
I know what happened there. March 16th is our next big auction. I'm talking big, like 1,000 lots in one day, and that is our Jim Geibel Ordnance Collection. Military ordnance, over 900 lots. But I want to mention something about Jim because we have had multiple consigners who have passed away that we never got to meet. This is one guy I wish we could have met before he passed away.
What a career.
Oh, my gosh. Listen to this. I just want to tell you a little bit about his career. He is very passionate about military ordnance and explosives and was considered to be an expert in the field by colleagues around the world. He was a member of the U.S. Army. He followed his military service as a police officer in Baltimore. He was a hazardous devices technician. Then he worked for the ATF. Oh, my gosh. He passed away at 70 in 2019. So the complete inert collection amassed by Mr. Geibel is considered to be the finest in existence, covering everything from early to modern hand grenades, self-propelled rockets, fuses, grenade launchers, demolition devices, blasting machines, and a large reference library. Pretty much anything that goes boom.
And it's all going to be available at Donnelly Auctions and
on March 16th.
Wow. Oh, so that's a one-day auction.
It's one-day
Wow.
auction. It's Saturday. Doors open at 8 a.m., but we do have a preview Friday night from noon to 7 p.m. But come in Friday, and you can come back on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. We will have complimentary food and beverages.
Yep. You know, Mike was just at the Show of Shows in Louisville, and he said the reaction as people saw the display he had there, he said people just couldn't believe what they were seeing, that this stuff is so rare and so
it's
unique.
Actually available for sale, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't know when it would come up.
And I
They've
say
been
this
kinda
all the
waiting for
time.
it.
You know, so many collections now come on the market, and once it's bought up again, it probably won't be back on the market for another 20 years. Unfortunately, somebody else is going to have to pass away before these things become available again. So if you are a collector of military ordnance, do not miss this auction.
Right. Mike even said that there's people flying in for this auction from all over the country.
Wow.
I know. One thing we have to keep in mind, though, too, is that for shipping purposes, we can only ship it to addresses in the United States.
Oh,
so if you're buying it from out of the country, you have to figure out how to get it.
You have to have a third-party shipper.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, again, that's coming up March 16th. And as I mentioned, our toy auction, March 23rd. I love the toys. You know why? Because we can carry them. It doesn't require a bobcat or a jack thingy. You know,
a jack thingy. More technical terms from Susan. We use
everything
jack
we sell
thingies
is so
at
big.
Donnelly Auctions.
When you said today you wanted to talk about coins, I'm like, let's go for it because I can put those in my hands and carry them.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to mention a few more items that continue to walk in the door. In our April auction, Susan, we have over 100 pinball machines.
I know, and I can't wait to find out where we're going to put them on display.
In one auction, yeah. Crazy
it's gonna be great.
Good. But a woman called us, and she's got 4 slot machines, and of course, that would fit right into April. Unfortunately, here's one of the issues. Sometimes we have to tell people the bad news. It was, it's going to be fun to tell the woman about her Skagel knife and wow, look at what we're going to get you for it and what we do get her for it. But unfortunately, we also have to be the bearer of bad news. And a woman has really 4 nice slot machines. And she said, well, I should get about $2,500 a piece for these. Well, sadly, I'm sure that's what her husband paid for these years ago. And slot machines just didn't hold up in value. They rose so fast and, but when all the slot machines came out of the woodwork, so to speak, out of the basements, out of the attics, and the demand it ended because, it's a supply and demand situation. And right now, there's too much supply, not enough demand. And those same $2,500 slot machines, she would be lucky to get $800, maybe $1,000 on a couple of them,
right,
but nowhere near $2,500. And that's just the facts. So she can hang on to them and not be able to sell them because she has a false expectation of what they're worth today, or understand that at an auction with competitive bidding, if they go for $800, that's all they're worth. And at least that you're getting the best money that you could.
So she wanted to put a $2,500 reserve on it. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what a reserve means?
Well, right, Susan, I'm glad you brought that up because a reserve price is, we especially use this on automobiles. Most auction houses do. So if somebody believes their vehicle is worth $15,000 or $20,000, you might put a $10,000 reserve on it or an $8,000 reserve. And that's what we would refer to as a throwaway number that, you would just not want to see the item go for that kind of money.
Exactly.
And so that's a protection that we can put on items. And we announce that, right at the auction that this item, is being protected with a reserve. Certain items are. And so they cannot sell below that reserve price.
Okay. Good to know. Good information.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But in this case, again, we will not put a reserve on these items because we will never put
get to that,
reserves on items that you can't achieve.
Right.
We'd rather not take them and pass on
them. And again,
all
of that's discussed at the time the contract is written and signed, so there's no surprises.
Right.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you are looking to consign anything, email us at consign, CONSIGN, at DonleyAuctions.com, or you can call us at 815-923-7000. Tell us what you have, where you're at, send us some photos, and we will definitely put you in touch with one of our experts and see if we can get in an auction for you. This is the year to downsize, isn't it?
Boy, it is. 2024.
Okay. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every Saturday on AM 560. The Answer. Coming up next, we have interesting stories. We want to talk about some other upcoming auctions we have not mentioned yet. But you can always go to our website at DonleyAuctions.com to check out the calendar. Again, give us a call at 815-923-7000. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560. The Answer.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan Haggerty, and this is Randy Donley of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. I don't think I've ever said my last name before, but you are my partner in life, just so people know.
Okay.
Not only in business, right? Okay.
I want to talk, Susan, about some other items that just walked in the door this week. It's always fun letting people know what walked in. And in walks in what looks like a toy washing machine.
Oh, I saw that.
But, it's kind of an odd size because it's bigger than a toy, but smaller than the real thing. And, of course,
and it's heavy, too.
Yeah. And it's made exact like a washing machine. And I'm sure it's a functioning piece and everything. But what it is a salesman's sample. And I'm bringing this up because I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there that collect salesman samples and might say, hey, Randy, how come you guys never talk about salesman samples? You're talking about toys and all kinds of antiques, but I've never heard you mention salesman samples. And salesman samples are very, very collectible. And what they normally are is exact working models of items that were just too big to take from one location to the other to sell. And I mean, pre-computers and the technology that we have today, how did people sell products without showing, people what it was and what it did and everything? So they actually made salesman samples of all these great products. I mean, we have this salesman sample of a washing machine that is going to be in the April auction, and we have a salesman sample of some walking plows and harness for the farming industry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I saw it with the horses and everything on it. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we do have several salesman samples going to be in the April auction. So if you do have salesman samples out there, folks, again, expensive, collectible, very, very good
Now,
items.
The washing machine is one of the round ones. It's an antique washing machine.
Right.
It's a round one with the little handle crank on it.
The Ringer, yeah.
The Ringer.
It was made by ABC Company, ABC Manufacturing. And a lot of people would equate it with one of the old Maytags, those big round washers that you used to see around in the 50s and even then into the 60s. I mean,
it's a cutie.
When I was a kid, our next door neighbor still had their washing machine powered by a gasoline engine, a Maytag gas engine. It wasn't electric. They actually had a gas engine in the basement powering their washing machine.
I'll be darned. Yeah. You know, another thing I saw coming in the doors the other day, of course, big heavy stuff always, are those cast iron stoves.
Aren't those beautiful?
Wow, that was a beautiful piece. Everything was there and restored. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, parlor stoves, again, are very collectible. Now, imagine heating some of these big old homes and mansions. They didn't have the furnace equipment that we think of today. So a lot of individual rooms had to be heated with its own stove. And these old stoves are known as parlor stoves, and they can be very ornate. They were all nickel-plated and highly polished, and then little windows inside of them so you could see the flame made of isinglass. Little isinglass windows, about 4 inches by 4 inches, a whole series of them. So, again, you'd see the flame. Well, parlor stoves right now are very collectible. And I know you, Susan, hate it when we bring in this big, heavy stuff.
Big, heavy stuff, for sure. But it's cast iron. It's a beauty.
It sells.
It does.
Sells.
Well, how did they stoke the fire? What is that? Wood, or did they use coal? What did they use?
Combination of both. I mean, wood or coal. Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Whatever people had available at the time. But
great piece. Again, another terrific item that's coming up in our April Spring Classic, folks. April 19th through the 21st.
And, you bring that up again. We had in Berwyn, Illinois, when I was a kid, our neighbors all still heated with coal. And coal trucks used to pull up in front of the house.
How old are you, Randy Donnelly? Oh, my gosh.
I'm a 70, but I'm telling you, in the 60s, people still had.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah, sure. And they'd load it from the side window, and they'd have coal chutes and everything, and people would deliver coal.
Did you have a milkman, too?
We did have a milkman. Of course we had a milkman. But what we did not have anymore at this point in time was an iceman.
Oh, yeah.
But before refrigerators, people had to actually have ice delivered to their house, and they would have a a cardboard number that they would put in the window, be it 25 or 50 or 100. And that would indicate to the iceman how many pounds of ice you wanted. So you'd put your ice card in the window, and then they would bring a big block of ice to your house and put it in your ice box.
We've come a far way from that, that's for sure.
Goodness,
my gosh, I'm happy with technology today, that's for sure.
Yes.
Again, check our website at DonnellyAuctions.com if you want to see our calendar of events coming up for this year. April 19th through 21st is the April Spring Classic. We are looking for gas pumps, Petroliana vehicles, coin-op machines, and even leaded glass windows. You have to tell them about that big leaded glass window that came in, too. Wow, what a beauty that was. You can email us at consign@DonnellyAuctions.com or call us at 815-923-7000. We'll send you in the right direction, and we'll let you talk to the right person. You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour right here every Saturday on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donnelly Auctions Hour. Thank you for sticking with us during that break. I'm Susan. I'm co-owner of Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. Randy and I are talking about items we have coming up in auctions in the next couple of months. We have auctions every month.
That we do.
Our calendar is on our website at DonnellyAuctions.com.
Now, one thing I wanted to bring up, Susan, real fast is, we're talking about all the items walking in the door, and this huge leaded window, leaded glass window walks in. The man had it all framed and everything.
How big was it, would you say? Give us an idea.
It's about 8 foot across and 4 foot tall. Yeah,
big. Okay, good.
Yeah. It's a big, like the full size of a sheet of plywood. It's a big window that came out of a commercial building, and in leaded glass it says haberdashery.
Now, anybody know what that means? I know, because you taught me
you better
back
know.
in the day. It's a hat maker.
You're right. So this was a leaded window advertising, a hat store. And so commercial leaded windows do extremely well. And so it'll be interesting to see what this one goes for. Somebody out there with a hat store is probably going to have this.
Well, it's even beautiful just to have if you don't.
You know, we had in one of our...
The word is neat.
One of our last auctions, we had a White Castle. Everybody knows White Castle hamburgers. We had one of the original White Castle signs that was all in leaded glass. They used to have them in their White Castles, of course, in the front window. And I think that sold for about $11,000.
It did.
Yeah. So... again, if you have any leaded glass out there, we have sold Tiffany windows out of churches. I mean, the last set of Tiffany that we had actually went overseas. I think it went to England.
Was it England or Ireland?
Oh,
I think it went to Ireland.
Could be Ireland. Hey,
yes,
speaking of which, I've got my green shirt on today, already thinking of
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Pat's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
My favorite holiday.
But at any rate, leaded windows, folks. If you've got anything, and of course commercial, we're looking for bars, back bars, any of that type of
big
thing.
Architecture pieces. Again, all of these items in our annual Spring Classic coming up Friday through Sunday. Actually, it'll be Thursday through Sunday. I think it's going to be the 18th through the 21st. We're going to crank it into 4 days.
That we are.
Because, we have all those beer signs. Oh, my gosh, hundreds of beer signs. They sold so well at the last auction. We're cranking it up again.
You bet. And another incredible amount of the autograph collection that we're selling from the Las Vegas shop that specialized in autographed art.
And there's autographed guitars and photos and famous celebrities, politicians, anybody you can think of, really.
There's presidents, military figures, sports celebrities. I mean, it's just... that's going to be one whole day of the 4-day event. So
yeah, and then Friday night is the highlight evening with all of the coin-op machines, the best of the best, and those pinball machines too, right? Or we might do those on a different day. There's a lot of those.
And
I think we should have a pinball party.
We've actually got a movie set. Now, it's not from the Barbie movie, but it could be because it's all pink. Everything is pink. A complete pink kitchen, complete pink bathroom. Everything is all done in pink. Actually came out of a museum when it was acquired by our location to sell it. It's quite but we're going to piece it all out.
Yeah, I saw that. So we're going to sell it individually?
Right. It's not being sold as a big group. We just feel there would not be enough people that want it as a set anymore. So all this great 1950s memorabilia.
So you're saying I can buy a pink refrigerator?
You can.
Okay. I might just do that. Okay.
Pink toilet, too. Hey, we're always looking for guns, folks. Guns and, military ammo, everything is one of our specialties. We do 4 of these a year. It's a full 1/3 of our business now and everything. But, Susan, tell our listeners what came in.
Well, yesterday I had a box of memorabilia, and as I was looking through it, I just couldn't believe that we actually are going to have this in an upcoming auction. It is memorabilia that is really and truly signed by Robert O'Neill. You know who Robert O'Neill is. He is the former United States Navy SEAL who participated in the 2011 Operation Neptune Spear with SEAL Team 6. He was one of the individuals that killed Osama bin Laden.
And thank you, our military, SEALs and all of our fabulous military out there.
We
just applaud everything you have done for us.
So the consignor who brought this box of items in, there's maybe 10 items, but they're all signed by Robert O'Neill. They consist of a Michael Jordan jersey, a helmet, a bin Laden kill story, the actual story that he told of how it happened.
All autographed.
Yeah. Wanted FBI posters. There's a President Trump photo that he signed and a tactical field ops mask and a diving knife, all kinds of great stuff. So the consignor said he's been looking for this stuff for a long time and has been piecing it all together and is now putting it up for auction in May.
Now, I know we don't have a lot of time, but Keith, our producer here, Keith, you said your dad actually worked on the stealth helicopters?
Yeah, he was an electrical engineer, and he worked on the avionics for the Stealth Blackhawks.
That's absolutely incredible.
Wow. Thank you for his service as well.
Yes,
That's amazing.
And I bet you've got some great war souvenirs then from Dad.
He does. We asked him already.
A few of them and from rockets, too.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Up for the ordnance auction. I'm sure you don't want to get rid of them, though.
That's right. Ordnance coming up March 16th. Military coming up in May. Again, check our website at DonnellyAuctions.com. Give us a call. We would love to talk to you at 815-923-7000. You can even ask for Randy Donnelly. He would love to talk military with you.
You got it.
He's been doing that since he was 11 years old. So don't go anywhere. I have the answer to our trivia question coming up next on the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.